What if I told you that a single gemstone could tell the story of an entire empire? A story of tender love, unimaginable wealth, of a premonition of catastrophe and a tragic demise. This is not merely the tale of a piece of jewelry. It is a chronicle, frozen in the crystalline blue of aquamarine and the sparkle of diamonds. Today, we will unveil the secret of the legendary brooch of the last Russian empress, Alexandra Feodorovna. In the annals of history, the image of the last Tsarina, the wife of Nicholas II, is often painted in reserved, almost ascetic tones. Her contemporaries noted her frugality, bordering on modesty, and her cool detachment from the whims of fashion and ostentatious luxury. Alexandra Feodorovna, born Princess Alex of Hesse and by Rhine, truly disliked boisterous balls and the bustling society of the court, preferring solitude and the quiet circle of her family. Her reclusiveness and reserve created the impression of a woman far removed from worldly treasures. However, behind this stern exterior hid one all-consuming passion, fervent and profound, a love for jewels. This trait manifested in her early youth when the young Princess Alex, as she was known to her family, lived in Germany and England. Her numerous royal relatives, cousins, aunts and uncles across Europe were well aware of this fascination. And so, for birthdays, Christmas and other important occasions, the finest gift for Alex was not a gown or a trinket, but a piece of jewelry. She cherished each one, imbuing it with a special, sentimental meaning. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel. There are many more fascinating videos to come. And now, we shall continue. And of course, the heir to the Russian throne, Tsarevich Nicholas Alexandrovich, knew of his chosen one's passion. When their destinies intertwined, he gained the opportunity to lavish his beloved with treasures that could dazzle any European princess. The imperial house of Romanov, at the close of the 19th century, was not simply one of the wealthiest dynasties in the world. It was synonymous with untold riches. Its treasury overflowed with precious stones from across the globe, and its court jewelers, such as Bolin and of course the great Karl Fabergé, were considered unsurpassed masters whose artistry set the standard for the entire world. The love story of Nicholas and Alexandra is itself like a precious jewelry box, filled with memorable moments. And the very first of these was marked, naturally, by a jewel. Their first meeting occurred when Alex was just 12 years old. She had come to St. Petersburg for the wedding of her elder sister Ella, the future Grand Duchess Elizabeth Feodorovna, to Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich. The 16-year-old Tsarevich Nicholas was captivated by the serious and shy girl. Wanting to please her, he pleaded with his mother, Empress Maria Feodorovna, for a small silver brooch studded with diamonds and presented it to the young princess. The gift so flustered 12-year-old Alex that, muttering words of thanks, she snatched the brooch and ran away. Her strict elder sister must have reprimanded her for accepting such a gift from a young man, because the next day, blushing, Alex returned the jewel to Nicholas. This awkward yet touching episode became the prologue to their great love. When they met again, Alex was already 17. She was once more visiting her sister in Russia, and this time a deep, genuine feeling ignited between the young couple. Their romance continued in letters filled with tenderness and hope. Despite many obstacles, including the disapproval of her parents and her famous grandmother, Queen Victoria, Nicholas prevailed. He proposed, and she accepted. During this period of courtship and engagement, the gifts became far more lavish and significant, each one not just a jewel, but a symbol of their growing love. It was then, on the eve of the wedding that would unite them forever, that one of Alexandra Feodorovna's most famous and symbolic jewels came into being. 3 months before the ceremony, on August 10, 1894, Tsarevich Nicholas placed an order with the court jeweler Karl Fabergé. An invoice preserved in the archives impassively records the birth of a legend. It was a magnificent brooch featuring an enormous Siberian aquamarine. It would seem that for the fiancé of the heir to the world's richest empire, something more traditionally opulent might have been chosen. A pigeon's blood ruby, a velvety blue cashmere sapphire, or a diamond of the purest water. But Nicholas's choice fell upon an aquamarine, and this choice was brilliantly precise, dictated by a profound understanding of his future wife's soul. Alex, as we recall, was sentimental. She valued in her jewels not so much their market price as their hidden meaning, their subtext, their story. Aquamarine, since time immemorial, was considered the stone of lovers, a talisman of fidelity and unbreakable love. Its name, derived from the Latin words aqua marina, seawater, connected it with purity, tranquility, and depth of feeling. Moreover, in that era, it was believed that aquamarine brought happiness in marriage, protecting the family union from quarrels and misfortunes. For the young princess, for whom family values were already paramount, such a gift was more eloquent than 1,000 words. Of course, this was no modest adornment. The masters at Fabergé surpassed themselves. At the center of the composition shone a gigantic aquamarine weighing 114 carats. It was a stone of exceptional quality, mined in the Urals, which were famed for aquamarines of a particularly pure and saturated bluish-green hue. The stone was cut in the shape of an elongated oval or a cushion-cut rectangle, which allowed its color and play of light to be displayed to their fullest. It was set in an openwork, almost weightless setting of platinum, the most fashionable and expensive metal of the era, which was just entering the world of jewelry and was prized for its cool luster and strength, perfectly accentuating the brilliance of diamonds. The entire platinum structure was encrusted with a multitude of old mine-cut diamonds, which created a scintillating halo around the central stone, like frozen splashes of sea foam or icy patterns on a winter window. The design of the brooch, executed in the garland style characteristic of the Belle Époque, resembled an elegant laurel wreath or a bow, symbolizing the triumph of love. The cost of this masterpiece, according to the Fabergé invoice, was 1,100 rubles, a colossal sum for the time, comparable to the annual salary of a high-ranking official. The brooch became one of Alex's most beloved jewels, a symbol of the beginning of her new life in Russia and a token of a happy future. But this single, albeit perfect token of love was merely the overture to a grand symphony of aquamarine light. What could be better than one magnificent jewel? Only a complete parure, created in a unified style, designed to shine in its full splendor. Several years into their happy marriage, when Princess Alex had become Empress Alexandra Feodorovna and the mother of heirs, Nicholas II decided to compliment his wife's favorite brooch. He once again turned to the genius of Fabergé, commissioning an entire aquamarine parure. This suite of jewels was to be the pinnacle of jewelry artistry and the embodiment of imperial grandeur. The centerpiece of the parure was a lavish tiara. Its design was ultra-modern for the time. A light and airy construction of platinum and diamonds was crowned with large, pear-shaped and oval aquamarines that seemed to float in the air. Unlike the ponderous crowns of the past, this tiara was graceful and elegant, enhancing the Empress's natural beauty. The set also included a magnificent riviere necklace, where large aquamarines in diamond surrounds alternated to create a shimmering waterfall on the neck, and matching earrings that echoed the tiara's motifs. When Alexandra Feodorovna appeared at state receptions wearing this parure, she made an unforgettable impression. The cool, icy gleam of the aquamarines and diamonds harmonized perfectly with her fair skin, ash-blonde hair, and famous sad eyes, lending her image a touch of ethereal, almost mystical beauty. For years, these jewels sparkled in the gaslight of the ballrooms of the Winter and Alexander palaces, silent witnesses to the final act of the Russian Empire's drama. But history had its own plans, and the symphony of light was about to be silenced by the thunder of revolution. What happens to treasures when empires fall? For many decades, the trail of the aquamarine parure was lost. After the revolution of 1917, the young Soviet Republic, lying in ruins after the Civil War, was in desperate need of funds. The Romanov treasures, confiscated and collected in the Gokran, the state depository of valuables, became the primary source of foreign currency. To avoid lawsuits from surviving members of the dynasty who had emigrated abroad, the Bolsheviks made a pragmatic and cruel decision. Most of the unique historical jewels were sold not whole, but dismantled. The stones were removed from their settings, and the precious metals were melted down. It was believed that this fate had befallen Alexandra Feodorovna's aquamarine parure. The legend was lost forever. But in 2014, a miracle occurred. At a private auction held by Christie's, among lots available only to a select circle of collectors, that very aquamarine tiara suddenly surfaced. It was whole and unharmed, having preserved all its original beauty. How had it managed to escape barbaric destruction? Who was the bold buyer in the 1920s who risked acquiring not just a scattering of stones, but a symbol of a fallen monarchy? The auction house, true to its principles of confidentiality, revealed neither the seller's nor the new owner's name. The mystery only deepened. It was not until 2020 that information emerged that the tiara is now the crown jewel of the collection of the famous Japanese connoisseur Kazumi Arikawa, founder of the Albion Art Jewelry Institute. It had been saved. But let us return to its progenitor, the brooch. Its fate proved no less dramatic. In the final years of Nicholas II's reign, the political situation in Russia grew more tense by the day. Alexandra Feodorovna, contrary to popular belief, was not a naive or foolish woman. She clearly saw the gathering storm clouds and likely sensed how the widespread discontent might end. Guided by maternal instinct and feminine foresight, she gathered in her private apartments at the Alexander Palace in Tsarskoye Selo a casket containing the jewels most precious and dear to her heart, a sort of inviolable reserve for a rainy day. This casket did not contain the largest and most pompous of the crown jewels. Most of those had been evacuated to the armory chamber of the Moscow Kremlin at the start of the First World War, but rather those with personal, sentimental value. Among them was the aquamarine brooch, her first truly magnificent gift from Nikki, a symbol of their love and family happiness. The imperial family took these treasures with them into exile, first to Tobolsk and then to Yekaterinburg. Before the final fateful move, rightly fearing that the Bolsheviks, unlike the provisional government, would not scruple to confiscate them, the Romanovs resorted to a desperate measure. They sewed most of the jewels into their clothing, into corsets, belts, and the linings of hats. There is a poignant and romantic legend that Alexandra Feodorovna cherished her aquamarine brooch so much that she never parted with it, wearing it pinned to her dress even while under arrest in the Ipatiev house, and that this brooch was on her person on that terrible night when she, along with her family, descended into the basement, never to emerge alive. Perhaps this is so. But another, no less tragic version is more likely. If the brooch had been visible, it would have been immediately confiscated by the guards, who, upon their arrival in Yekaterinburg, ordered the prisoners to surrender all valuables for safekeeping. Most probably, the brooch, like the other treasures, was securely hidden in the folds of the Empress's clothing. It was discovered only after the execution, when the clothing was removed from the bodies of the unfortunate victims. All the discovered jewels were placed in a suitcase and sent to Moscow, where they awaited inventory and appraisal. In a list of valuables seized from the imperial family, compiled later in the 1930s, the aquamarine brooch is listed as number 87 out of 154 items. The new authorities, devoid of any sentimental attachment to the relic, valued the Fabergé masterpiece at 800 rubles. Subsequently, the brooch was sold abroad. But unlike many other treasures, it was not dismantled. Perhaps the unique mastery of Fabergé or the exceptional size and clarity of the stone impressed even the pragmatic Bolshevik appraisers. The jewel was sold intact. After passing through the hands of several private collectors, Alexandra Feodorovna's legendary brooch found its permanent home. Today, the original is carefully preserved in the exhibition of the famous London gallery Wartski, which specializes in the works of Fabergé. There, under museum glass, it continues to shine with its cold, eternal light, holding more secrets than any history book. And so, the original pieces of the fateful parure found new homes, scattered by the winds of history. One, a public treasure in a London gallery. The other, a secret jewel in a private Japanese collection. But does the story end here? Can such a legend die, or can it be reborn in the 21st century? It turned out that it can. The original brooch left Russia, it seemed, forever. But the memory of it remained. In 2024, the 130th anniversary of Nicholas and Alexandra's wedding, Russian jewelers from the Gokran decided to accomplish the nearly impossible, to recreate this lost masterpiece, to pay tribute to the skill of the past and to the tragic story of its owner. With incredible precision and scrupulous care, modern masters created a replica of the antique jewel. It is not just a copy, but a true resurrection of the legend. To create it, a magnificent clear aquamarine weighing exactly 114 carats was found, the same as in the original. Its celestial color and transparency are in no way inferior to the historic stone. To recreate the sparkling surround, 672 diamonds of various cuts were required. However, the new creation is not a 100% copy. There are differences, dictated by time. The original Fabergé brooch was crafted on a platinum frame. Modern jewelers used 18-carat white gold, a more pliable and common material today, which nevertheless perfectly captures the cool brilliance of the original. Furthermore, the masters introduced a modern enhancement to the design. They made the brooch a convertible jewel. Thanks to a complex engineering design, it can be worn not only as a brooch, but also as a pendant on a chain, and it can be suspended at 2 different angles, creating a new look each time. This subtle touch connects the past and the present, showing how a classic design can be adapted to modernity. Today, this magnificent replica, a symbol of revived memory, is kept in the Diamond Fund of Russia at the Gokran, alongside other great creations of the nation's jewelers. History has come full circle. The shadow of a lost treasure has returned to its homeland in a new, radiant form. Thus concludes the odyssey of a single brooch. A journey from a lover's gift to an empress's beloved talisman, from a treasure hidden in a corset to a cold lot on a confiscation list, from a museum exhibit in a foreign land to the inspiration for a new national treasure. This brooch is not merely metal and stone. It is a frozen tear, a silent witness to love, hope, and the greatest of tragedies. And looking at its icy radiance, one cannot help but wonder, what other secrets do these silent facets hold? What untold stories could they tell if only they could speak? Tell us in the comments which legendary jewel story you would like to hear next. And if you were captivated by this journey through time and destiny, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon so you won't miss new stories about treasures that change the world.